So if you think of this room here and this pathway here as the 50 states, here's the visual image I want to present and leave you with. Let's say on this side, among the 50 states, and all 50 states have community colleges, community college systems, but they all organize themselves in different ways. So let's say on this side of the continuum are those states that have very strong chancellors of community college systems and very strong, they're named different things, state departments of higher ed, boards of regents, you know those phrases. So that's over here. And in those kinds of states, the local boards have little, sometimes not at all, of the autonomy we spoke about. So that's over here, okay? And now down on this side of the continuum then is that's as far as I'm going to go, are the states that have the inverse image, if you will. Strong local boards that really are empowered. And less structure at the state level. There are a few that have no structure, maybe not even one. But so you get the contrast. So applying this to New Jersey in the mid-90s, or from the creation of community colleges through the mid-1990s when Governor Christie Whitman was elected, but from the late 60s, let's say, we're coming up on our 50th anniversary, some of our colleges, right? So from the late 60s through the mid-90s, New Jersey was over here. Remember what over here is? We had a Department of Higher Ed. We had a Chancellor of Higher Education. We had volumes of regulations. Volumes. Now, these were colleagues of ours. They were people of goodwill. But under this system, remember what I said about community colleges. Under this system, I'll give you one example. For Camden to get a new program approved, just by the nature of the beast, 18 months? At least 18 months. Well,
anonymous person in Trenton.
With that in mind, think about it. Local communities, what do they need? The board says we need X, Y, Z. We send it to Trenton, and all the T's get crossed and the I's get dotted, and it comes back approved. Maybe 2 years later, well, holy cow, the needs of the community changed. So no system is perfect. That was the downside of this. So in comes Christie Whitman, Governor Whitman, who was one of you, a community college trustee, was at then Somerset, now Raritan Valley. Freeholder, and if you remember the story, was really quite an unknown. Challenged Senator Bill Bradley because nobody else wanted to. Didn't win, but used that to launch her campaign for governor and was elected. Glenn may remember this in a kind of secretive way. She was giving her first budget address, kind of silently put a call out to all of the presidents to join her in the room minutes before she was going to give the speech. Wanted you folks to have a heads up. I'm going to announce my proposal to abolish the Department of Higher Ed, say thank you and goodbye to the chancellor, and create instead this model over here. Coordinated autonomy. And so it was quite controversial, and Glenn and some of the others will recall, and they may want to say what some of our worries were. So what was created instead was local boards with great autonomy. You get to make decisions that over there and in New Jersey the chancellor made. You set tuition, right? Didn't set tuition in the old system. You approve new programs. Doesn't take 2 years. I think some of our colleges do it in a couple of months. That's the autonomy. But the challenge at the time, and there are some of us that were there at the time, was to write a law that figured out what to do with some of these state-level things that needed coordinating. There's a funding formula that distributes aid. There's a process for distributing capital funding, Chapter 12 as we call it. Well, who was going to do that stuff? And, should it be the Department of Ed? That didn't feel right. Should it be the Department of State? That didn't feel right. There is this group called the Council of County Colleges. Let's write into law. Let's more empower that body, not government. We're not government, 501c3 if that matters, to provide this coordination, to do a funding formula, to have a Chapter 12 process, to do student success initiatives, but always mindful of the number one principle of autonomy. Autonomy trumps all. But to wrap up, going back to what I said earlier, we have to find a way, the governor said, Governor Whitman and subsequent governors, to find a way to capture the autonomy in a collective way that we can look citizens in the eye no matter where in the 21 counties they reside and say, yeah, these community colleges, they're serving your needs. Your community college is serving your community's needs. But in the aggregate, we can say in good conscience that together they are serving well the needs of all of our citizens in all 21 counties. So that's coordinated autonomy. Hope you remember the visual image and remember the phrase too. Others will comment now or later whether they think it's always still a work in progress, but I think it has been empowering to New Jersey's community colleges in all of the right ways.